When the biscuit joiner came on the scene a couple decades ago, it pretty much revolutionized cabinet making. Now you could make joints in minutes. All you do is butt your pieces together just the way you want them in the final project, make a simple little tick mark across them, and that guides the biscuit joiner. Now, you cut a slot in one, then you cut a slot in the other, and the slots line up perfectly for these little biscuit thingies that you can buy anywhere. Then you put some glue in the slots, spread it around, then you pop in the biscuit, and that even swells up a little bit, helping to lock the whole joint in place. It's really amazing, but there are some handy tips that'll help take your biscuit joiner to a whole other level. One of the keys is trying to reference off the base of the machine whenever possible. If you read the manual that came with your tool, it'll tell you that there's two ways to guide it: off the base, like we just did, or using its adjustable fence on top of the work, like this. But you can see that adjustable fence is a little bit of a shakier operation. Also, some fences are fussy to use, and others are straight up inaccurate. So here's how to go beyond the manual with any biscuit joiner and get great biscuit joints of all kinds. Now we're going to use biscuits to make cabinetry, which is where they really shine. Whether you're making simple cabinets for your shop or big built-ins for your house, biscuits offer a simple, sturdy joinery system. We're going to make two small cabinets. The first one just has simple butt joints. In this case, you want to put your tick marks on the inside of the pieces. And I spaced them out for the number 20 biscuit. That's the biggest biscuit. And that's another tip. You want to use the biggest biscuit that you can fit into the joint. Biscuiting the top and the bottom of the cabinet is easy. You just lay the pieces down flat the usual way. But be sure it's the outside face you're laying down. That's your reference surface. That's where you want the joint to end up flush. But the sides, those are a little bit trickier. You'll find you're going to have to stand those up to cut their slots. And the whole affair is just a little bit wobbly and a little bit awkward. There's a better way to do it. You make a little L fence like this, and I'll show you how to use it. I'm extending my tick marks. That's so I can see them underneath the tool. And I'm going to clamp down these workpieces so they overhang the bench. But I can just hold the L block and the biscuit joiner in my hands. The key here is that we're still referencing off the base of the tool. So we know the slots are going to line up and the edge of the cabinet will end up flush. Check it out. Check it out. Now, what if you want to put a fixed shelf inside your cabinet to strengthen it? Well, there's a trick for that too. The tricky part when you're putting in a shelf is getting the biscuits to line up from this side all the way through to the other side. All you have to do is make a simple spacer, line it up with the end of the piece, and then you just register the biscuit joiner off that. Alignment guaranteed. It kind of works like the L fence, letting you register off the base of the tool. Just be sure to clamp the spacer piece to the same end of each side. Now the shelf will line up perfectly. Trouble is, the rest of the assembly could get a little bit tricky. There's a lot of moving parts. Imagine if this were an 8-foot tall bookcase that's going into your house. Imagine getting clamps, glue, everything into place, all while you're trying to get everything to line up and match. But we've got a trick for that too. We're going to use screws with the biscuits and assemble these joints one piece at a time. Drill clearance holes between the biscuit slots. You want to work on the inside so you can see the slots. Then, flip the pieces over and countersink the outside of the holes. Now here's what's cool. You can just assemble the case one joint at a time. Drive these inside screws first to hold the parts together, but then pause to drill pilot holes for the outermost screws. The pieces you're screwing into are prone to splitting on their edges. Side here. But hold on, you're probably thinking, all the screws are showing, and that's true. But if you're building kitchen cabinets or big built-ins, the sides often don't show. And if these were shop cabinets, maybe you don't care. If you do care, there's an easy fix. Instead of countersinking the outside, you would actually counterbore the outside, which is just using a larger drill. Then you can pop in wood plugs on top of the screws, trim them flush, and have a nice, beautiful wood look on the outside. Next, we'll make a face frame for this little cabinet. You already know how to do this. It's basically the first joint that I showed you way back at the beginning. We can use biscuits to attach this face frame also. You'll notice I left a little bit of an overlap here around all sides. That's so after I attach it, I can just route it flush. But how do we deal with that offset when we're biscuiting? You could use the fence, and that's fine, but I don't really like to rely on the fence for reasons I stated earlier. So I'm going to show you another cool trick so we can continue to use the base as our reference. You only need a few biscuits to add some strength and to register the parts. I'll biscuit the face frame the normal way, using the L fence from before. When it comes to the cabinet, we need to create that offset that we're looking for. The trick is shims. These are just thin pieces of plywood, the same exact thickness as the overhang all the way around. Now you can put shims like this under the tool or you can put them under the workpiece, whatever makes more sense. In this case, they're going to go under the workpiece. Okay, let's pop in some biscuits and see how it fits. Perfect. Now I'll just add some glue, clamp it up, good strong cabinet.